Hey y'all, this is Stephanie Lalo with Lalo Acres. It's been a hot second. Like, I don't even remember the last time I made a video. I think it's probably been like 4 months, I think. Really long time. But we've been so busy and I'm transitioning a bunch of things inside and outside. And we kind of took a break on some of the gardening stuff over the summer just because we had such a hot season. Everything wasn't really producing as much. So I will take a walk back there this week and show you what we do have. But for today, let's see, what is today? Monday, January 23rd. I am doing my soil block and my mix. That's why I wanted to bring you along to see. And I'm gonna set them all up in trays and start planting my seeds. Some of the materials that I use, let's think here. So I followed the recipe on Seasonal Homestead. Becky has a recipe that she follows from another adverse man, and I think his name's Colton or something like that. But I took her recipe last year and made the full batch, and it made a ton of soil blocks, and I think I ended up planting too much, and some of them died before I could get them into the ground, just because our last frost went a little bit later last year. So I'm cutting it in half. I'm mixing it inside of this bucket, or I should say tote. I don't have the wagon that I used before. And so we're gonna kind of scale down a little bit and be more, instead of planting too many things and only getting a small quantity, I would rather plant what we need and some extra and be really good at fertilizing and watering and like really paying attention. So I'd rather have quality over quantity, if that makes sense. So in the recipe that she uses, I tagged along with, and it provides nutrients, some compost, different meals, perlite, and peat moss. So I prefer using the black and gold perlite. It's organic. I use bone meal, blood meal, garden lime. This one is not pulverized, although hers does say pulverized. And then obviously the peat moss. And then over here, last year I did homemade compost. This year I am using mushroom compost. And one other ingredient that she uses is green sand. And I asked around a couple stores here and they didn't know what I was talking about. And the only thing I can think of is maybe because we're in Florida and we're surrounded by sand, we don't get green sand. And I think their homestead is, I don't know, out, I want to say maybe Washington or something. So, different location might have different items. So I just figured I'll go get a cup of sand or whatever the measurement is and cut it in half and just pour it in there. So, and that's what I did last year actually. So my soil blocks were amazing and I made a video. So if you need to go back and check that out, you can. So this year we're doing the same thing, just downsizing on the amount of soil blocks and focusing on quality over quantity. So let's start mixing up the ingredients. So I'm going to be honest with you. I already started putting in most of my ingredients by measurement because I realized as I was doing it that I should share with you all what I'm starting for the fall crops. So I'm just going to explain really fast and then we'll actually make our soil blocks and you can see how I do that. So what I did was, I don't have like a 2-gallon bucket. I just have the 5-gallon. And so with the recipe that I did, it called for 4 gallons. Well, it was 8 gallons of perlite, but I did, let me shut this off. The kids were in here with me. I did 4 gallons of perlite. So I filled it to about here. Sifted perlite, put that in there. And then I looked up and I needed 2.5 gallons of I'm sorry, I said perlite. Peat moss, 4 gallons of peat moss in here, 2.5 gallons of perlite. So one 8 quart bag is 2 gallons. So I did one of those and then a quarter, or about a half. It was more like a half. And then I did a 1/4 cup of the blood meal and a 1/2 cup of the bone meal, and then a 1/4 cup of the lime. And then it called for, let's see, 4, because I cut it in half again, 4 gallons of the compost. I filled it about halfway in here because it's super wet inside the bag. It's heavy and dense. And I wanted to see how the consistency would be inside the bucket. And so it's about half. I would probably think maybe 3 gallons worth. And I'm just adding a little more as I go. Actually just using an old can. And I filled this up probably a 1/4 of the way with water. And I'm really just using this little rake and mixing it all in together. It does take a little while to mix up and really break down because peat moss doesn't absorb water really well. So it does take a little bit of time, and it's fine. I just let it mix up, and it helps me kind of incorporate all the dirts and things together real well. And there's some spots in here that you can probably see on top that are a little more dry. So what I do is just add more water. And I don't feel like too much water could be a problem because I would rather have the soil really, really, really wet where it can stick together and create a great block. And also, if it is too soupy and it starts to fall apart, the blocks don't stay together, I'll just add a little more mushroom compost because everything holds really well to that. So I'm not overdoing it completely on the water where it's like undoable, but I'm definitely using quite a bit so that I can get a really good consistency. If it's too dry, then when you go to create your block, they're not gonna stick, they're just gonna fall apart. And you really want a nice, moist block because that seed is gonna just love all those nutrients and moisture that dirt is providing for it. And since last year was the first year that I did this, and I had such great success versus like traditional planting. So, traditionally we would use these little containers. I also have some from MI Gardener where there's a little hole in the bottom. Here, I'll show you. Where are they? Here we go. They have a little hole in the bottom right here. And so once the block's set, you can like poke your finger through and it'll pull the whole block up before you go and plant it. These are great too, but typically would use like not really a good quality homemade mix, just kind of like a bagged mix. And a lot of my seeds actually didn't germinate, so I didn't feel like that was really a great option. So this mix with the soil blocks, hands down, best option. I did put some of this homemade mix into the MI containers that I can poke out after they set. And I did get some sprouting from it. So it's definitely not completely the container that you use, but I will say based on research and reading that if you do soil blocks, the air is able to move better. And we'll put the blocks in here. I have a bunch of these, and so I'll add my blocks in here. And I'll probably do half of 2 different items, and then I'll label them. And once this is set and ready to be turned into a block, I'll come back and show you how we set up a tray and what the final project looks like. And I'm a hot mess. And I haven't done this in a while, so you would think I would be a little bit better, but we got all kinds of stuff going on here. We got our home gym Jeff created, busy guy. All right, so I will be back in a little bit. Let me get this all mixed up good together. It's not Christmas anymore, that's true. But I love that you're being creative. It's amazing. Be careful. Whoa. Steady. So I came outside to get some sand. I'm like, where am I gonna find sand? Even though that's just a silly question since I live in Florida. But over here, my dog was digging. So I thought, look at this. This is perfect. Look at perfect sand. I can pull out some on the grass. Plop some in here. I don't really need a lot because it said, sorry, I can't find my my little stand for the phone because, like I said, I've been a little crazy lately. But I think it said like 1 cup of green sand, so I really only need like half a cup. Although green sand might have other things in it that regular sand doesn't. I'm not really sure, but this should be good. This will also help with the, oh, there's a weed in here that was growing inside the compost. Look at that. That's some good stuff. Sprinkled that in there. And everything has been mixing up really, really well. In the meantime, I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna come back while this stuff kind of soaks and absorbs. I'm gonna show you the order we just got in for our seeds that we ordered from Baker Creek. I really like their seeds. So give me 1 second with my amateur filming here. Okay, cannot get over what a mess I am. I feel like I'm always a mess on here. Okay, so this is the soil. It looks really good. I ended up digging in here and like using my hands and really making sure everything's mixed together well. And I didn't feel, other than a few twigs that I see there, any solid pieces. So it's gonna be ready to go. I'm just letting it sit a few more minutes, kind of marry together like cooking, because I like to do that too. All right, let's take a look. Where can I prop you? I'll prop you here. At what we got for seeds. So we went a little crazy because we wanted to try some new things, but like not overplant on the new things, just try new vegetables and fruits. If any of you recently noticed that I was back on Facebook, I took some time off, but Jeff started doing keto back in July, and then I kind of piggybacked about a month ago. I did some time with that and continuing on. It's been a really great journey, health journey that is amazing. And so cutting out the carbohydrates and the sugars have made such a great difference in all of our lives, including kids. And my point being with this is that we always loved gardening, and every year it's gotten better and better, and we've learned, but we've also, we've had some negatives that have come with it. You always get some of the bad and the good, and that's okay. You only grow and learn from that. And so we realized, not having much of a harvest this fall, we had to buy a bunch of produce. And being that we are doing the ketogenic lifestyle, we eat a lot more vegetables and things of that nature. And so it was really important to us that we could get into understanding gardening at its fullest, and trying to get the most that we can out of it for our family. And the cost of everything going up, like eggs, I can't believe it. Thankfully we have chickens, and we're able to help others and stuff like that. But anyway, so some of the seeds that we bought are the typical, like I'll show you here: zucchini, celery. Here's some pumpkins and squash. But a few of the things that are different, like this is the Seminole pumpkin and squash, like basic pumpkins for like pie and purees. But I wanted to get my Brandywine tomatoes. They're supposed to make the best fermented tomato, from Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. She has a great video on how to ferment tomatoes without having to heat them up and cook them, and leaving them basically at their most natural state. We're really big into fermented foods, and you can pretty much ferment any of these things. Jeff actually does kefir. He does 2 different types of water kefir, dairy kefir. We do kombucha, but we toned off a little bit on that because it takes more sugar. Kimchi and krauts and just all kinds of fermented foods, which are so good for you, so good for you. So we ended up getting, I wanted to get like Napa cabbage and Lots of carrots here. More lettuces. Spaghetti squash is a great alternative to pasta. We absolutely love that. We have lots of flowers. Hang on. Don't scare me. You're cute. The kids are playing pretend. And she started running down the driveway. We have a very long driveway, but I get nervous. What else? Okay, so, sorry, I kind of digressed there. But like other things too, like different shape size onions and other peppers. This is called lemon drop watermelon, plain watermelon. Lots of cauliflower. We eat a lot of cauliflower and broccoli. I actually have a few heads growing in the back, which I'm super excited about because I've never grown cauliflower before. I got broccoli last year. I got a lot of it actually, but the cauliflower didn't turn out, and so I thought for sure my plants had died off from this past freeze that we had. And I went out there yesterday. I'll link some pictures to show you guys, but there's like little heads like this growing, and it's so exciting. Like, first of all, cauliflower is expensive, but secondly, you can do so many things with cauliflower. You can use it from making it like a riced cauliflower, it mimics rice, to making a pizza crust. We've done everything, and we eat it all the time, and it's really good for you. Low glycemic. So we got that, and some parsnips, and ground cherries, Chinese broccoli. Jeff wanted to try that. And then a variety of different flowers. Flowers are important. They're beautiful, but they're also important for bringing in like the pollinators and things like that for your plants. So we grabbed some of these. I think Jeff picked these out. Oh no, we picked them out together because he asked me what color I like. So we got that. This is called marshmallow. What else? We got some free stuff that they threw in that was there. Oh, some rutabaga. Let's see. I think it was Friday. I made rutabaga French fries. You can eat like a whole rutabaga yourself, and it makes a ton of fries. And it's like a third of the calories of one small potato, white potato. And they're delicious. They taste like sweet potatoes. I still eat sweet potato. I don't really eat white potato. But Jeff doesn't, he avoids all starches. And so I made that, and it was phenomenal. It was really, really good. And again, good for you. What is this? Oh, peanut. Deep black peanut. We did grow some peanut last year, just regular peanuts. It was sad because I went out and I started seeing the plant grow, and it was really cool, and the peanuts were popping up, and I'm like, I'm not kidding you, within a day or two, they were all chewed up between the leaves, which I'm assuming the bunnies, and then like squirrels pulling the peanuts out. It's very frustrating. Just the joys of gardening. So just go back, we'll learn, we'll cover it, we'll do something, and move on. Do it again. We're not giving up. And then this one is another type of butternut squash. I love butternut squash. And then some more flowers. So also keeping in mind, this isn't even half of what else we have. This is extra stuff that we got from items that I knew I had ran out or was almost running out of. But then I have a whole basket full of like 12 different varieties of lettuce. If you go back into my channel, you'll see some of the lettuces that I grew. I grew everything from romaine to red leaf to mixed greens. I gotta watch the time. I'm gonna feed the cows next time. Mixed greens, arugula, spinach, Boston lettuce. It's kind of like bib lettuce. We had salad every day, wraps, and it was amazing. Like to be able to go out in the backyard and like create my own chef salad or Caesar salad. I had some cucumbers. Now my season with the cucumbers did not last long because we got worms. We went out the one day, we picked all the worms off. And I don't know how, within like 2 days, they all came back in the middle of the night and took out my entire plant. I think I had 3 or 4 varieties. So that was frustrating. So I just said, nope, I'll wait and maybe I'll move them, because I did put them in the same bed that this happened before. Maybe I should learn and kind of rotate. So I might start doing more of a rotation. because I have the 6 raised beds, and then we have the really big ground bed that we put in. And I had a bunch of stuff in there, and then the freeze took a lot of it out. I had over, in the fall, I put in over, I want to say 20 or 25 tomato plants. And they were producing, and I was getting cherry tomatoes and one beautiful San Marzano tomato that I only had one, I think I had 2 seeds left, and I was like, oh, they're not gonna do anything. And I got a gorgeous plant from it. It was huge. It was like this. The tomatoes were coming out. And I covered it with plastic. I even wrapped a sheet around it. Like, I did all the necessary things. I guess I should have put Christmas lights underneath to keep it warm, but yeah, the freeze took that out too. So I actually cried about that. Last year, I have another video you can look at. I make all my own crushed tomatoes. I wouldn't say spaghetti sauce because it's not sauce. It's just the crushed tomatoes with some basil, fresh basil that I grow that I put in there, and then I can use the crushed tomatoes for any sort of recipe. I usually turn it into sauce or spaghetti sauce, or I'll just, put it lightly over what used to be pasta, but like spaghetti, squash, and season it, stuff like that. It's perfect to have crushed tomatoes. And then I had other things like cabbage, and I do have some Brussels sprouts that survived, a Napa cabbage, the cauliflower, and broccoli. And I'm surprised that those all still came up even after I planted the seeds and the freeze came. That was like a month ago. But anyway, I digress. Let's start making some soil blocks. Little eyes, I can feel her staring at me. Safety for science, we say safety first. But you don't have shoes on, so you're protecting your head, but now your feet might get hurt.
Now I need some shoes.
Exactly. Oh, you could put on the boots. This is the day in the life of our family.
I'm gonna put on shoes.
My editing will probably be terrible, and you'll see what it's like to try to tackle these projects with toddlers. It's not easy. Oh, for sure. Can you say hi?
Hi.
That's YouTube. The one that you like to watch all the time?
Who's that?
YouTube, where you watch your princess and your...
But whose name is that?
There's all kinds of names of people.
What kind of people?
I don't know. Maybe they'll put something in the comment and say their name. Okay, so I made 2 blocks just on each side of the tray so that it wouldn't tip over and stuff and it went to fall. Okay. Yeah. Quickly. Okay.
And I gotta do, and I want my legs.
You try to do the legs while I finish this, because not everybody's gonna have time. Woo. Okay, so I put 2 blocks in here. Well, they're individual blocks, but it's a set of 4. Am I saying that right? Set of 2 with 4. However, did I say that correctly? Okay, so what you do, or how I use my soil block, which is super easy and effective, I find. I kind of just take some of the dirt and push it like this. I scoop it up and push it against the side of the container or wheelbarrow or whatever you choose to use, and flip it up to see that it's full, that it's packed in pretty well. And then I just kind of wiggle it and smush it down nice and tight, wipe off the side if there's any excess. And then on top here is this little lever, and I just squeeze like that as I pull up slightly, and it makes your perfect blocks.
Be careful over there.
So, yeah.
Be careful, please.
That's what we're gonna do. Feel free to tag along, but I will speed up this part for you all. That I found, all these other than this one right here is super moist, and what I can tell from here is that all the water is kind of settling into the one area of the bin, probably because there may be some peat moss that I missed at the bottom that's going to need to be circulated in and kind of create a more cohesive mix. So I'll take these ones back out, put it back, give this another mix, and then start again. So I picked out 3. I'm pretty sure I have cherry tomatoes somewhere, but this tray here, I'm not going to do all tomatoes, I don't think, but maybe I will, just because I lost so many before. I always feel like it's good to have extra because you do end up losing some of your plants. So it's always good to have a little extra. Don't go too crazy that you're just wasting seeds, but you know, do what you can. And so these are the Brandywine tomatoes. There's not very many in here, and I did plant the purple Brandywine and lost all of my little seedlings that I had from the frost, which I was pretty upset about that. So I ordered a new version of that. And then this is the San Marzano. I did have a few left from last season, so I'm gonna plant those, which make the best sauce, I was saying. And then I have a few beefsteak here. I'm pretty sure I have cherry somewhere. I'm gonna look again, but at this point, I'm just gonna show you how I plant. So what I do is, I usually do about, oh, I thought that was a snail. 2 seeds. Okay, these are the San Marzano. I usually do about 2 seeds per square. And I try to keep them pretty well divided, just so that when I go to separate them, I'm not severing any of the roots, and I'm able to replant them and have more space for them. So I'm gonna put one here towards the top. I know it's really hard to see. I found my stand, so I put you guys on there. And I'm gonna put one here. So I kind of do them diagonal from each other in a square. And then I label my toothpick and I stick it in to the spot with the row that I did my tomatoes. Yeah. Yo. Okay, friends, thanks so much for tagging along while we worked on some of these soil blocks and got some of the seeds planted and labeled. I will have a full scale of what I'm doing probably in the next day or two. I'll put up some pictures on Instagram or Facebook or make another video, but it's fun. I definitely have my work cut out for me, and it's getting dark. I have to feed the kids, so I will leave this for tomorrow. I think too, while I was kind of pondering over this, the more this sits for the night, because there is a lot of moisture in there, I think it started to finally, like I was saying, marry together and stuff. It will continue to soak up and really maybe dissipate some of that liquid a little bit. It was a little wet, as you saw, but the thing is over time, while the blocks sit, they do dry out. It's not like they stay like that. And you have to go back and spritz through to the seeds while they start to germinate and stuff. But yeah, other than that, it was a great day. Thanks for tagging along with me. I will have more videos soon, and Jeff and I are going to talk about our keto stuff and just all the different fun things we're doing. So yeah, and another big project, chicken tractor. So that's been fun. But all right, guys, it's been real. Take care.